I wish I could tell you it gets better. I wish I could show you a way out of this, but I can't because it doesn't get better. And it won't get better if you continue to do what you've been doing, hoping that time alone will heal everything. And the weird part is that people keep telling you it will get better. Like it's a promise from the universe. But what if I told you that that's the exact lie keeping you stuck? You know, we love this idea that things would just improve, that if we wait long enough, if we suffer long enough, if we stay patient long enough, something will shift. And I get it. You know, there's that toxic job. It gets better when they hire more people. That's what you think. The draining relationship, you know, you think it will get better when they finally understand you. Let's talk about financial struggles. You know, you think it will get better when you get that promotion. But months pass, years pass, and you're still there, still waiting, and still open. And this happened to me. I was 25. I was still living in Ibadan. I just moved out of my parents' house. And I kept waiting for that big opportunity to come. I kept waiting to get to a point where I no longer have to worry about financial struggles. I kept trying to be in a place where my mind is in chaos, but then physically I'm trying to keep composure. And I thought maybe by the time I'm 27 or 28 or 30, things would be different. And I waited. Like I really waited. But nothing changed. In fact, it got worse. And the truth is that waiting for things to get better is just another form of giving up. But this time, you're just doing it quietly. And here's one thing nobody wants to admit, and is that most situations don't improve on their own. They improve because someone made a difficult decision. They improve because someone stopped tolerating what's comfortable and started doing or started demanding what is right. It doesn't get better when you keep showing up to spaces that drain you. It doesn't get better when you keep giving away your energy to people who don't reciprocate it. It doesn't get better if you keep waiting for external circumstances to change while you stay the same. And it sure doesn't get better if you keep numbing the pain instead of addressing the source. And I feel like the reason it keeps, or the reason it's not getting better is because you're still doing the same thing, just with different expectations. And I know why you keep doing it. Change is terrifying. The unknown is scary. Like you're thinking in your head, what if I make the wrong choice? What if you leave and it was just about to get better? But here's the other question. What if you stay and it never does? So at this point, what do you do? If waiting doesn't work, if hoping doesn't help, then what's left? Think about it. Like you made a decision or you make a decision at that point. Like what's left now? You make a decision, a very difficult decision, a real one. Not the kind where you say, I'll give you 3 more months. Not the kind where you mentally check out, but physically you stay. a decision that changes your circumstance, not just your attitude about them. Maybe that means having that conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it means leaving the situation you've been enduring. Maybe it means setting boundaries that you've been afraid to set for years. And it could even be starting the very thing you've been putting off. And if you're like me, it could be asking for the help you've been too proud to request. Things get better, and I know this because I spent years of my life waiting for things to get better. I spent months second guessing myself, hoping that if I just land one more contract, there'll be ease for me. If I just work more, my family would experience, some kind of financial freedom. All sort of things. And I just kept going down the rabbit hole of waiting, of hoping, while still doing the same thing. I remember a night, I was holding my son in my hand, and I was going through the inventory of things I need to deliver for a client. And he was crying, I was struggling, I had no clue. Like I was just there, and I was frustrated. And I didn't know when I began to cry. Because I just remembered my 25-year-old self in that very small apartment thinking, by 28, 29, things should be different. But it didn't seem different at that time. It didn't seem like I had made this magical change in my life. And that was when I realized that things get better when you stop being passive about your own life. When you stop waiting for rescue and you start walking towards your own exit. And yes, it is hard. Yes, you might fail. Yes, people might not understand you. But you know what's harder? Living another year exactly like this one. Still open, still waiting, still suffering. I can't promise you that taking action would immediately fix everything. I can't promise you that life would magically be different when you start doing the things that are hard. Life doesn't work that way. But I can promise you one thing, and is that staying where you are right now, doing what you're doing, waiting for it to magically improve, that definitely doesn't work. I know this. I've been there. I've done it the same way over and over again, hoping for a different outcome. So I'm not here to tell you it gets better. Oh my God, why am I crying? This wasn't how I pictured this short talk going. I'm not here to tell you that just like this, everything will stop being difficult. No. But I'm here to tell you that you can make it better, but only if you stop waiting and start deciding. Because the question isn't, when will this get better? The question is, what am I going to do differently today? And you already know what needs to change. And you've known this for a while. So the only question left is, how much longer are you going to wait? And I feel like what really triggered how emotional I'm being right now, I had a conversation with a friend from uni who happened to be, was very good, was the best in my class at some point. Was a top student. And he was just lamenting to me about how he doesn't know what he's doing with his life. That people used to call him that brilliant guy, that remarkable, exceptional guy. But now it feels like he's a failure. And I didn't know what to say to him because I've also been there. Like, for years I was there. The brilliant guy who would always, top the class, help people out. And then it got to a point people were calling me a failure. That smart guy but doesn't really know how to navigate life. It was very messy. Like, for a long time, I was that jack of all trades. I never knew how to pick one thing and stick with it. And then when he shared all of these things with me, it really broke me because I'm like, how can someone with so much gift, with so much uniqueness, so much goodness, be in a position like this? And I decided to ask more questions, and I realized that he's been trying to do the same thing over and over again for 7 years. And in my head, I'm like, if only you can just make a tough decision. Right now, all you need is not to build on those talents you think you have. Understand that this thing isn't working. Leave it. Go for something else. Ask for help. It's brilliant. And that feels like the only thing that he just stands on, but he doesn't ask for help. And I've been there. And I can tell you, it's not the best place to be in. So, if you've come this far listening to me, I beg you. You already know what needs to change. And what's weird is that you've known for a long time. So I'm going to ask you this question again. How much longer are you going to wait? Wow. I'm not usually this much of a mess, so forgive me. Yeah. I guess I'll see you next time. Talk soon.